Morning raw liver.
Hey man, don't touch it, yeah, yeah. Not my leader. I just can't leave her to you. Be alone with you. Be alone with you.
Okay, so it's about 9 a.m. I woke up much earlier. I just didn't film at that time because I have a morning routine that I don't look at my phone before I do those steps. So I'll just tell you what I was doing at the beginning a little bit later. But right now, what I love to do is make salt water for the morning as like my first drink before anything else. So I'm gonna make that right now. So as you could already tell, it's very simple. I just fill up a big glass of reversed osmosis water, and then I pretty much just scoop an exact teaspoon, well not exact, but a teaspoon of Baja salt, which I've talked about before, and it's also on my website. If you want to buy some, I have a link in the description, and you can use my code CottageRemedies10 to buy some Baja Gold Sea Salt. And just to briefly talk about it, why I like this sea salt over every other sea salt on the market is because number one, it comes from the Sea of Cortez, which is known to be uncontaminated waters. And it also is the highest in trace minerals, which means it's the lowest in sodium chloride, because that means you'll get more trace minerals for your body per mouthful. So that means that when I'm drinking Baja salt in my water, I'm actually drinking mineral water, which is then actually going to be hydrating the cells of my body, because my cells need electrolytes to be actually able to use the H2O. So now I'll just wait till this dissolves, and if I find it too salty, because I don't actually exactly measure the salt that I put in, I will just dilute it with more reverse osmosis filtered water. So it becomes like a little bit of a sole that I'll just dilute throughout the day. I'm just gonna give a quick rundown of what I do first thing in the morning when I wake up. I skip this because, as I mentioned earlier, I prefer to look at the sun or expose myself outside to natural light before I look at any phones or artificial light at all. So when I wake up, the first thing that I do is I have my thermometer right next to my bed. So I take my basal body temperature and I actually log it into an app that's called Read Your Body. I'm not affiliated with this app, but I had been writing it in my notes for such a long time, and it was so unorganized and I didn't like it. And I found this app through somebody else, and it has just been amazing. I think it's just $20 Australian for 1 year. It graphs your temperatures on a chart, and it's just very organized. So if you're a woman and you naturally track your menstrual cycle, that's an app that I recommend to keep it organized. So I do that first thing in the morning, and then I also use a copper tongue scraper. So I do that as well. And then I immediately go outside. I put my bare feet on the grass like I did this morning. It stormed last night and it's still very cloudy, so I wasn't actually able to see the sun, but I still go outside anyways and expose my eyes to the natural light. Now for one of my favorite parts of the day, I'm taking my towel and I'm going to be going to have a sauna session.
Be alone with you. Be alone with you.
So before the sauna, I haven't actually done this before, but I am trying to use this up. I'm just gonna spray some magnesium all over my body. And when I go in the sauna, I'm just going to be wearing just a cotton towel so that I avoid any elastine or polyester on my skin when I'm sweating. So usually I sit in there for about 20 minutes, and the temperature at the end gets to about 60 degrees Celsius. So I sit in there from around anywhere between 55 to 60 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes.
Be alone with you. Be alone with you.
So straight after the sauna, I jumped straight into a cold shower. And now I'm just going to moisturize my face because I've fully washed myself. And the only skincare routine that I have is in the morning, I'll just put beef tallow on my face. This is actually a blend of tallow, olive oil, and manuka honey. And I just have two products that I just alternate between for my skin. I'll just show you the other one now anyways. I usually use this one for night. It's called Egyptian Magic. And the reason I use it at night is because if I put tallow on my face at night, it just gets all over my pillow. It's just not a good idea. It's too thick. So I'll usually use this in the morning, and either I don't wear anything on my face at night when I sleep, or I'll just put a thin layer of Egyptian Magic, which I think I've talked about before. Also, this has lasted me so long, both of these. You know, I've talked about how I used to have really bad acne, and that was just constant money down the drain on expensive products, and I was using way too many products on my face. But yeah, so in the Egyptian Magic, it's, where are the ingredients? Yep, it's just olive oil, beeswax, honey, bee pollen, propolis, and royal jelly. So mainly bee products, which is fantastic for your skin, because your goal is just to have hydrated, nourished, and glowing skin. And then you're not gonna have problems with scarring or redness or those sort of issues, which of course comes from within, and your skin is a reflection of what's going on within. But you know, this is also helping me heal any marks or pigmentation that's been left behind from previous acne. So I really don't do much, just like that much, and just like rub it over my skin. Okay, so I'm making breakfast. Now, this isn't my everyday breakfast type of thing. Okay, every day is eggs, and eggs come in different forms for me, including raw. This morning, I am going to have raw eggs and raw liver for breakfast because I just don't have time to cook this morning. I've got way too much to do today, but I will cook lunch and you'll see that later on. But I'm gonna prepare this, and in fact, raw animal products are actually, they can be consumed raw, and they are actually better for you when you consume them raw. Because when you cook a product, anything, for example, especially eggs or meat, you're denaturing the proteins because the proteins are actually heat sensitive, and you're also, you know, evaporating the B vitamins because they're water soluble. So when you cook an egg, it's actually going down in nutritional value, and it's also becoming more difficult to digest because the proteins have been denatured. So there is nothing wrong with, you know, drinking your eggs raw. I know it's weird to some people. I'm just gonna have them straight. But if you don't like drinking raw eggs, then you can blend them into some raw milk with raw honey, even with a banana, and make a smoothie out of it. There are many ways to actually get raw animal products into your diet that's not in a quote unquote scary way. But yeah, just for time purposes, I'm just going to have it plain. And like I said, this is not always the same every single day. Yesterday morning, I had cooked scrambled eggs for breakfast with some grated raw cheese and obviously cooked in butter. So it changes from day to day. This is just what I'm having today. Perfect. I only like drinking them one at a time. So I drink this and then I crack the next one. Something that I can't do is crack them all into the same glass and try and drink them all at once. I can't do that. So. Cheers. Different eggs definitely have different tastes. I have noticed that from trying different brands of eggs. Some are better than others, but I think what most people struggle with when they think about drinking a raw egg is definitely the sliminess and, you know, the yolk coming down. Some people, they prefer to just scramble it in the jar and then drink it like that. I don't like doing that because, I don't know, it just, the flavor, I don't like that. But I don't have a problem with the sliminess, and honestly, I never did, which was really surprising. But, you know, I find it much easier to just swallow it like that. And this is your best multivitamins, the best thing you can possibly have to consume, as well as raw liver, if you're wanting to be getting the broad spectrum of all your vital minerals and vitamins. Now we're having some raw liver that I cut up. I virtually never cook liver. I tried cooking liver once. This was also very early on. I just don't like it. I just can't stand eating cooked liver, which is really weird. But fun fact, the first time I ever had an animal organ was when I was 18. That's the first time I ate an animal organ. So when I first tried liver, I actually gagged. I was trying to eat it, you know, just whole basically. And it was really, really hard to do. Even now, I just don't force myself to do that when I can just cut it up into little cubes and swallow it with a drink. So that's what I do. I just put them onto a plate and I just swallow like a couple, like a supplement. But I have to like kind of get through this. So just for means of getting through it in a particular amount of time. I've got some already in the freezer cut up, and then this I've defrosted. But because I need to get through it quickly, I'm probably gonna have like, it's kind of a fair bit, I don't know. I'll have this, that amount right here. And I'm not worried about over consuming liver. I do get my iron tested. As a child, I was severely anemic due to celiac disease, which I didn't get diagnosed, I hate that word, until I was 11. But up until then, you know, I had a ferritin of 5 at the lowest, which is so bad. My energy was terrible, couldn't concentrate, constantly ill. So yeah, but since, you know, eating lots of raw liver, a high red meat diet, I have, you know, been able to build up my iron like my iron now is the highest it's been in my entire life. And I can tell the difference. I'm able to concentrate for long periods of time. I have great energy and I just feel great every day. So my ferritin has, you know, gone so much higher, but I still get it checked and I know that I'm nowhere near overdoing it with my iron stores. It's also different for women than for men. Women won't necessarily have as big of a risk or problem with having too high iron as men do, because women bleed monthly. So we naturally do need to have more iron and constantly take in more iron each month. It's so soft and so easy to swallow. Like, even though the pieces are quite big, you can swallow it so easy. I've got no problem with tasting it, but for some reason when I chew it, I just don't enjoy it as much. Like, I can put it in my mouth. Some people can only do this with orange juice or a strong flavor, but this is just water with a bit of salt in it. And I can put this in my mouth before I even swallow it down with some water. And I've got no problem with that, but just chewing it for some reason, just don't like it as much. I do it, I can do it, but you know, I don't see a point when I could just swallow it down. Guys, I'm at my laptop now. I'm going to be doing some computer work for just a few hours, but because I'm at the computer, I'm exposed to blue light. Obviously, artificial blue light is the enemy, so I'm going to be blocking the artificial blue light with some blue light blocking glasses. I actually have my laptop set to night light all the time, and it is quite orange, but I just make it even more orange with these glasses. These specifically are the True Dark Daylight Blue Light Blocking Glasses. Can't remember the specific what they're called, but I do have a link where you can buy them through in the description. Okay, so it is almost 2 p.m. now, but I'm going to be making lunch, and I just found some rice in the fridge and also some grass-fed beef mince and avocado. So I'm thinking of just cooking the beef mince and the rice together, and then I'll just put on some avocado on top and some organic coconut aminos as well. This was faster to make than ramen noodles. It took me no time and only 4 ingredients. And tastes a billion times better than ramen noodles. Talking about ramen noodles because I see my sister and her friends make them all the time. Girls, this minced beef, grass-fed, rice, avocado, and coconut aminos. That makes a very good meal. And for my fermented food, I'm gonna be having some kombucha. My mum makes kombucha and it's always so good. She makes it with organic black tea, organic raw sugar, and she also has made, I think this is mango, because mangoes are actually in season right now in Australia, and they come from our own mango trees. We've got 3 mango trees on our land, so yeah, that's alive. Yeah, this is the mango one. It's so good, and you can hear it fizzling. There's even a little SCOBY in there forming. So this would be full of bacteria, but the problem is with a lot of store-bought kombuchas, not all of them, but some of them, and you can usually tell. I have one brand in mind specifically, but I don't want to say it publicly. But they just add carbon dioxide bubbles in there, making it more like a soda water. And then they use stevia and erythritol instead of just using organic raw sugar. The SCOBY cultures actually prefer glucose, which comes from raw sugar, for example, not the low-calorie sugars like erythritol and stevia, which have shown in studies to contribute to kidney disease, stroke, or even infertility. So what these kombucha companies then have to do, because they chose to put stevia instead of sugar, they have to add cultures rather than use a traditional SCOBY. So it doesn't end up being a kombucha, although they do market it as that. But there are some brands that actually do use, you can tell that they do use it. They don't add bubbles because it's more of a smooth fizz. Just like when you make a homemade one, you probably can't see them anymore. But yeah, that's my little kombucha rant. Let's go. We're going on a walk, Sash. Let's go. She gets so excited. I know. This is Sasha. Aw, she's my family's dog. So we're taking her out. A great thing to do after any meal is to go on a walk. I also like going on a walk anyways, just to get Sasha out of the house, and so I can go and see my neighbor's horses because they're so beautiful. So it's almost 5 now, and I'm just going to pour myself a glass of raw milk, and I'm just gonna mix some shilajit into that. And I'm going to start packing because I need to pack, which I'll explain in a second. So this is my raw milk. In Australia, it's just labeled as bath milk. And then this is the shilajit that I have. It's just from the Altai Mountains. And really simple, I just pour myself a glass of raw milk, and then I take a little bit of shilajit on I usually use my fork actually, and then I just mix it together. Eventually it dissolves, and the milk actually gets a little bit of like a cacao aftertaste. So it's really delicious and very good for you. I don't know if you've heard much about shilajit, but it's full of fulvic acid, helps you absorb, other minerals with what you're drinking it with, which is why I like drinking it with raw milk, which is full of minerals and vitamins. And then the shilajit helps me absorb that. And shilajit has been shown in studies to actually accelerate the activity of mitochondria in our body.
Hey man, don't touch it, she, yeah.
So I currently live in Australia and I was born here, but in less than a week, I'm actually flying to the south of France to live in Europe until near the end of July. And then I actually have a ticket booked to go to America after that. So I have to start packing, which I haven't started yet. And I have to pack for a long time. So that's what I'm gonna be doing now while I'm drinking my raw milk. And yeah, I've just been thinking about this for a while, like how I'm gonna choose what I should bring and manage the weight situation. Because alone, I want to bring all my, this is quite funny, I want to bring all my salts with me that I stocked up on a while ago, but obviously they're really heavy, and so I don't know how I could manage bringing them all. And obviously I've got so many books that I want to bring with me, and just these things that I use in my everyday life that I'm still trying to think about how I'm going to be able to manage bringing or fitting everything into my suitcase. So that's what I'm going to be doing now, and I'll check in a bit later. I'm testing out winter clothes because this is actually new. I had to buy this because I don't have winter clothes. I live in Queensland, Australia, so winter is like non-existent. the sun has well and truly set. I've finished my whole teeth cleaning routine and I'm pretty much ready for bed. I've got my nighttime blue light blocking glasses on with the red lenses, and I am starting to feel really tired. So that's the end of my video of what I do in a day. If you liked this style of video, then please let me know in the comments or by giving this video a thumbs up. And if you would like to follow along with all the other videos that I'll be posting, then don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you in my next video.